Well, hello, gunfighters. I am honored and blessed to talk to you today. Hopefully share some wisdom and knowledge. Today, on bailout bags. This is a Patreon request. Bailout bags. Grab and go tactical bags for sticky situations. That's what we're going to talk about today. Welcome to Gunfighter Life, the podcast where we talk about guns, gunfighting, tactics, the right way with Almighty God at the center, Judeo-Christian values, and real-world first-hand experience. I will say that first and foremost, I am a Christian, a servant of God, and a follower of Jesus Christ, Yeshua, God made flesh. In addition to that, He's blessed me to do many things in life, especially pertaining to today's episode. Military combat veteran and urban warfare instructor for the United States Marine Corps. Also served in the U.S. Army, both full-time and part-time National Guard. Law enforcement, a lot of years, a lot of different assignments. LAPD, worked some of the nastiest streets in the country, worked some pretty specialized assignments. Worked fugitive recovery, worked on some SWAT stuff with some three-letter government agencies. I was also a private contractor for a three-letter government agency that I won't specify. And I was also blessed to be the commander of a tactical team to stop active shooters in a large metropolitan area. That was our bread and butter. There to stop active shooters, mass casualty events, things like that. So as you might imagine, by God's grace, I have a bit of experience in this tactical arena, and I'm blessed to be able to share some knowledge with you today. Now, I remember bailout bags starting to become a thing. Now, they may have predated that by quite a bit, but now I joined LAPD in the mid-aughts. To give you an idea, there were still guys carrying wheel guns. It's kind of a transition time, a lot of militarization of police, and I'm not going to get into the politics of that, but bailout bags, at least I was starting to become aware of them. Maybe they were around before that, but first I'm going to talk about a bailout bag as it pertains to the gunfighting professional, of which I have a bit of experience again. What it is for them, and then I'd like to get into why you may or may not want that philosophy, and you may want to adopt something more akin to your circumstances. Okay. Now, for a cop, for a private contractor, this is, and there's probably some cops floating around out there with a Cliff Bar or a couple of protein bars or whatever in their bailout bag, but that primarily what it's for. You have a small bag, like grab and go, just a handbag or a sling bag that increases your mission capability for acute, and this is important, acute, tactical, armed conflict, period. That is what this law enforcement, private contractor, bailout bag is. It's not a bug out bag. It is not a never coming home bag. It is not a bushcraft bag. It is a tactical incident increase of capability bag, or at least a potential to increase your capability. Talking a small bag with, and here's what I'm going to call the essentials in here. Ammo. You know, the average cop doesn't carry a ton of ammo on their person. Usually you're talking about, let's just pick, there's still plenty of cops carrying 40. Let's just say they carry a Glock 22 and they have 2 spare magazines. That is under 50 rounds, right? If you're talking about standard capacity magazines, that's under 50 rounds. If you get into something like the North Hollywood shootout or something like the Miami-Dade shootout, which if you are, consider yourself a student of the gun, a student of the way of the gun, you may want to look into those. Those are kind of quintessential in how our gun culture is shaped up in America, especially as far as law enforcement. You look at any of the big incidents like that, you may want some more rounds than that, right? You may want some more ammo. Now, this is your main thing for your bailout bag. Ammo, preferably in magazines. You may just throw a couple of boxes. I can't say that I never did that. Just had extra boxes of ammo in addition to extra stuff in my bailout bag. But ammo, preferably in magazines. A lot of cops now are running carbines. A lot are running shotguns. So whatever your loading device is for that, probably not a lot running revolvers anymore. So you would have several of your pistol mags. Let's say you're running a SIG P320 variant, M17, whatever. You would have several magazines, probably since you don't have to carry them on your person, the 21 round magazines. You'd have several. And pick how many you want. Let's say you have 3 extra pistol mags, 20 rounds. That's 60 extra rounds. That would more than double probably your mission capability of what you have on you. It's right there in the handgun. You're also probably going to want, again, if you're running a carbine mags. Most ubiquitous for us to STANAG mag, the AR-15 mag, whether you like a MEN 2 or you like P-mags or Lancer, I don't care. If you know they run, like not a brand new mag, but one that you know that runs in your gun when fired by you, that magazine, have several of those. Loaded up and ready to go. You may want additional ammo in there, but really if you get in some kind of acute situation, you want it loaded in mags. You don't want to be sitting there trying to jam up mags one at a time from a box, or if you're talking about the AR-15, hopefully you guys know that those are designed to be loaded with stripper clips. The old school mags, the military ammo comes in stripper clips. You can load them faster like that, but I don't think that's a situation you want to be in. So have your mags loaded. That is your primary thing for your bailout bag. If you're talking about the policing, the martial aspect, CONUS, that kind of arena, talking about private contracting, military stuff, you may have other stuff in there. Flashbangs, you talk about more specialized assignments, you may have flashbangs, you may have smoke, you may have M67 fragmentation grenades, you may have, as an assaultman, you may have C4, but for you that's probably not applicable. So let's stick to the CONUS handgun, carbine / shotgun setup. If you got a shotgun, some extra shotgun ammo, perhaps loaded on butt cuffs, that's what I was taught they were called, but the stock holders that hold ammo, you could have several of those with ammo on them, with ammo ready to go. If you have different kinds of ammo, I would highly encourage that it's color-coded somehow. I'm not a big fan of green tip for most things, for most civilians, for most uses. However, there might be a time where you want a magazine of green tip if you're trying to stop a vehicle ramming incident, which sadly is a real thing, or you're trying to shoot through a barrier. It's kind of made for that. I would have that magazine either green in color, spray painted green, green duct tape, just because it's green tip and that makes sense. You can choose whatever color you want. If you go to like the shotgun slugs, just say for instance you would want your slugs blue and your buckshot red. Have less lethal, obviously, usually have a whole separate shotgun for that, but if you don't, it had better be color coded well. So make sure, because you're probably going to be in a high stress environment if you need this. If you're playing for keeps, right? If you're slinging lead and lead's coming both ways, this is not the time to be thinking what ammo is in this mag. Color-coded. Next to movement, color is one of the things the human brain cues up on the most. So color-coded. However, your system that you want. But your ammo. If you have any kind of ball round, it's better than no extra rounds. I would have that color-coded, and I would have that as your last resort. For most things. You may want some other things in here for an acute situation. The next big one that comes to mind is emergency medical. You should probably have some on you as part of your EDC, but I generally carry a tourniquet every day. A lot of people do, a lot of people don't, but most people aren't going to carry unless they're in full overt kit. They're not carrying probably more than one tourniquet. So probably the bailout bag is a good place for a couple of tourniquets. If there's a lot of shooting going on, it's likely there may be a lot of casualties coming up that you have to deal with after that threat is stopped. Locate, close with, and destroy the enemy. Or, as we put it more politically correctly, change that dude's behavior post-haste. And you deal with the emergency medical stuff. But you might want some tourniquets in there. On the color coding thing, if it's on you, I would really prefer that it be some kind of subdued color, because again, the human eye is attracted to colors, like bright colors. I would not want a bright orange tourniquet on my body. However, if it's in a bag, If it's in like a bailout bag, you might want to get the most bright, obnoxious color tourniquets you can find, like bright orange or something like it, because you want to be fishing around trying to find one. If it's in a bag and you open the bag up, you know that everything in there that's bright orange per se is a tourniquet. That's probably a really good idea. Already have a bunch of black tourniquets, then just throw some bright chartreuse obnoxious color tape somewhere that's not going to interfere with the function of said tourniquet, like the windlass or something like that. Those are probably your most important things in that bailout bag. You might consider some Line 2, some direct support gear for your primary weapon system. Line 1 gear, it's not uncommon for ARs to break, malfunction, go down. That's a real thing that really happens. A lot of times it's the small parts that break, the extractor, pins, things like that. Sometimes an entire bolt carrier. I've seen entire bolt carrier groups split. And bolt carrier groups, if you're running a direct impingement gun, it's one of the benefits of them, one of the few I think, most of those BCGs will interchange. You'll have an entire spare bolt carrier group. They're not that expensive. If you're running an AR, conceivable you could take cover and if you have one in your bailout bag, just rip out that old BCG and throw in a new one. Probably not switching out an extractor, which is one of the most common things that break, or something other small thing that breaks in the AR. Right? You're probably not doing that. You could conceivably do that, and it's like for other operations, it's not uncommon to have in your pack, in your kit, even if you're going on mission, an entire spare bolt carrier group. Because again, there are a lot of small parts on the AR-15. Maybe you're not even in an acute situation, it's just riding in your trunk, and you realize doing your pre-combat inspections, oh, that's not good. that doesn't look right. You're going to clean your bolt carrier group and you lose that little cotter pin, which seems like a really strange idea to put on a combat gun, and you could make a new one out of, let's say, a paper clip. Ask me how I know. Or you could just have an entirely separate bolt carrier group and you could just pull the pin out of that one and put it in your go-to bolt, or just swap out the entire bolt. In that case, I'd probably swap out the pin. But your Line 1 gear, like an entirely different bolt carrier group, if you're running an optic with batteries, you might want to repent on that or have some kind of backup like solar. But if not, whatever batteries your gun, your light, those things take, those extra batteries. You get called up for a big mission and you're prepping for the mission. You're by the kit room, or I guess if I'm talking to just for you in your day-to-day, going on a road trip, doing your pre-trip inspections, and you realize, oh, my batteries in my flashlight are dead. Well, your bailout bag has extra batteries. You get the idea. The big one, ammo, tourniquets. I'm not saying that's the only thing you can have in your bailout bag, but these are like the core of your bailout bag. Again, this is not a bug out bag. This is not a wilderness survival kit. You probably don't need an entire hank of 550 cord. You might need a couple of extra belt keepers, because that's the thing. If you're running tactical kit, you might need a couple of zip ties. Probably a good idea, because stuff breaks. If you're doing your pre-combat inspection, can't say I've never gone onto a mission with something zip tied on, right? It's a thing. But the core, ammo, preferably loaded in magazines, tourniquets, emergency, I guess I should stop saying Line 2 and just say like immediate support kit to give you more mission capability. Sometimes less is more. Fight the urge to turn this into something that it's not. If lead is flying both ways and you're hearing that evil sound of bullets whizzing by you, that is not the time to open this bag and look and find an old banana or 3 hanks of 550 cord and just some random tactical widget you bought on Amazon that, let's be real, you just wanted to play with it and it probably is never going to get used in a real world situation. This is not the time and place for that. If you're talking about this is a bailout bag, it's for bailing out. It's for grabbing and going quickly. I would really encourage you on this bailout bag, have it dedicated for this. You could just have a simple grab and go ballistic nylon or old school heavy duty canvas bag that's easy to grab and go with one hand, because you can still fight with the other hand if you have a handgun. You grab it and you run for cover, or you move while engaging the enemy. It's got to be light and handy. You also may want to consider a sling bag, something with one strap, like light, handy. You throw it on, something like a Maxpedition VersaPack or something like it. You may want to consider even more compartmentalization, something with dedicated, something like a Midway USA or like a Wilson Combat bag, where there's a lot, and I'm just picking brands. I'm not brand loyal to any one of these. I don't have any sponsors, but just those are ones that have been around a while. Probably Blackhawk makes some stuff like this, but something with dedicated, like let's say pistol magazine pouches and or AR-15 magazine pouches or 308 magazine pouches. You get the idea. Compartmentalize it in that you have little dividers, like kind of little tactical wallets, where you have your bag and you open it up and there's a strip, like a ballistic nylon series of magazine pouches where you grab it and that's all your handgun mags loaded and ready to go. Also, cheap and easy solution for this is a Milsurp bandolier for the AR-15s. They'll hold 6 magazines, and they're just a simple bandolier with one strap. You can just grab it and throw it over your shoulder, and you got 6 extra mags. Super simple, super easy. Not everything has to be Gucci. They're simple, they're effective, they work. And if that's what you need out of that bag, you open it up. I would again get it in a different color, and these are probably going to be subdued colors, and that's okay. But let's say your bailout bag is OD green. Probably get a cheap, obnoxious, that ugly ACU pattern of camouflage. Get a bandolier in that, right? You're not trying to look cool. You grab it out of there, you throw it on, but it's easy to identify. That's my rifle mags. You got 6 mags. You can sling it so it goes, if you're right-handed, on your just left side hanging there, and you can grab mags out of it. This is not your general go-to ammo. This is additional ammo. If you have time, you're doing tack reload, you can put it in your cummerbund or your war belt or wherever you run your primary reload for your carbine. But I'm a big fan of those bandoliers. You don't have to do that. You could just have a bag with like mag pouches on each side, where one side is rifle and one side is handgun or shotgun, whatever you are running, whatever your weapon system is. You get the idea. I would have, and ask my wife, I'm not always the biggest on organization, but when it comes to certain things, like my fighting kit, I'm pretty meticulous. Like my EDC, like this always goes in this pocket, this goes in this pocket, my tourniquet's here. That stuff's important. Like anything else, you're going to have to train with it. So take it to the range, and when you get done with whatever ammo, you're like, treat it like a speed reload. How fast can I get to my bailout bag and get that item out of there? Think about, if I was shot in the leg right now, how fast could I get that tourniquet? Is there a way I could get it faster? Have your tourniquets prepped. Have them in an area. If it's just a small bag, you can probably just throw them in the center. Again, if they're obnoxiously colored, they should be easy to find, but have them prepped. You have a really thin rubber band on there that just snaps when you go and open it real quick, so that they're already prepped. Probably prep it for your biggest appendage, like the medius part of your leg, so you can throw it on and tighten it quickly. See episode on emergency medicine, tactical combat casualty care, March algorithm. You can search something in there and you probably find it on an old Gunfighter Life or Alpha Male podcast episode. And again, bailout bag, I think a lot of times less is more for this. I would say fight the urge to throw a bunch of random stuff in here. Here, and this is, I'm talking about for cops. If I harken back to LAPD when I was back working patrol, a common system would be to have a big duffel bag, badge number on it, probably helmets on it, big old PR-24. You want to throw down? All right, I'll throw down. Big old side handle baton, but a big duffel bag. I would not consider that my bailout bag. That is my war bag, my big bag that I take and throw in the trunk. Consider my bailout bag a sub bag that goes in there. Because there's a lot of stuff you need as a cop that if I'm getting shot at, I don't care about, right? I don't need to know, I don't need to open that bag and search through a bunch of spare ticket books and traffic citations and a bunch of spare reports, lost property forms, right? I don't want to be dealing with that stuff. If I have that big bag, I'm going to have a bailout bag inside of there that I can just open up and grab it. And then I know everything in there is like mission specific for what's going on right now. I said I would talk about how to adapt this to you. If you're listening to this podcast, you're probably into survival, preparedness. I don't apologize for that. I don't expect you to apologize for that. But you probably have other bags, right? You probably have a bug out bag or an inch bag or an I'm never coming home bag, hopefully in your vehicle or something like that. And these are separate things. But here's what I'm going to talk about for you. What's best for you? Can you integrate that? Maybe you want to go gray man urban. Get a big, like maybe even go to Goodwill and get a well-used, like duffel bag that looks like a gym bag. And throw an old hoodie on top of it. If it's big enough, like some pretty big duffel bags. Like I could put in a bug out bag and I could put in a bailout bag in that bigger bag and throw a jacket or something over it. You could have a bailout bag inside your bug out bag. Like my go-to, and it's not just my bug out bag. It's like I have like one go-to big bag. For me now, and it has been for years, the Eberly Stock Gun Runner. Go-to when I was professionally commander of a tactical team to do that kind of stuff. It was my big bag. It's also my going elk hunting bag, going hunting in Alaska bag. It's like my bag, and I'll repack it for different stuff, but it's also my bug out bag. You may decide if you have a go-to bug out bag like that, this bailout bag gets integrated in there. So it's easy to get, easy to take off. It's probably going to be heavy, right? Because ammo is heavy, lead is heavy. My wife and I have the saying, we're working out at the gym together, and we like every once in a while we'll look over at each other and be like, weights are heavy. And I don't know even who came up with that, but we say it quite a bit. Like when we're tired and we just don't feel like working out, but we're working out anyway. Oh, weights are heavy. Why are weights so heavy? Anyway, ammo is heavy. Lead is heavy. This bag is going to be heavy, but it need not be very big. A couple of tourniquets, a few batteries, spare bolt carrier group, rifle and pistol mags. Doesn't have to be a very big bag. You should be able to fit that inside or strapped on under the top flap or something of your bag, which is probably a good place for it, because if you don't know, you probably want the heavy stuff higher and towards your body, but you get the idea. And if you need it, you, like on my bag, you do one clip and the top comes up and there's your bailout kit. If you're a business traveler, traveling salesman, or you do a lot of road trips, I know a guy that's a professional like salvager. He goes and picks up, well, I don't want to say too much about what he does and give it away what he does, but he does a lot of road trips, right? You may have like your overnight bag, right? And you have this big duffel bag. Maybe even it's got wheels on it, right? And you have your toiletry kit, your like shaving, personal hygiene kit in there. You have your decompression sack with a bunch of spare clothes in it and whatever else. And then in there somewhere you have your bailout bag, right? So just but I want to caution you, because I think this is kind of prevalent, and I guess it's just kind of the nature of us as humans. If you get a guy that has only ever been a cop, or you're taking advice from somebody I shouldn't say only, but that's got the vast majority of tactical experience being a cop or a Navy SEAL or a Green Beret, right? It could be really, really good training, but it may not be germane to what is going on in your life for you. So don't think that because a cop runs his bailout kit like this, you need to run your bailout kit like this. Don't think that, the 101st Airborne runs their bailout kit, runs their kit like this, that you need to run your kit like this, right? Because you're probably not jumping out of airplanes. That's probably not germane to you. But take the concepts and the principles for the bailout bag. I need a bag quickly that I can grab and go with. Like my Lamborghinis, as fast as my little feeties will move me somewhere. To the threat, to cover, to engagement. It may not always be that fast and dynamic, but it can be. And that's kind of the point of the bug out bag. You may just have to grab it for a mission. You've heard the term hurry up and wait. You may think something's going down. You get queued up that there's an active shooter. You grab this and then you wait around because you don't really know what's going on for 20 minutes. But it should be light and handy enough to grab quickly, and you should be able to easily identify the things that you need in there. That's the big core concepts I want you to take away from this. A small handy bag that you can grab either just with a handle or with I prefer one. I don't want it to be a backpack because it might be going in another backpack and that just gets too tedious. I would prefer, and again, you adapt this to you, but I would say either just a grab and go bag like a small bag with 2 handles, or a single sling bag that I can grab and throw across my back or throw in my front if I do grab a bigger bag and that's draped around my front. Small bag like this that I can easily identify the things that I need. Have it organized, have it ready, have it handy. Color coding is a good idea. And of course, training with it is a good idea. Another thing to think about, especially for armed citizens, or anybody else, I guess I did a lot of covert stuff when I was working different missions, right? Like I would wear either a business suit, or some of my guys would just be in hoodies looking like thugs, right? So you can be tactical. You can have a tactical thing that doesn't look tactical. You can have a bailout kit that looks like a little fly fishing sling bag. I don't know that I would recommend this, but one could have a bailout kit that looks, or that is a big, it'd have to be fairly large, but you could do it a large fanny pack, right? I don't want to alienate any of the audience that wears a fanny pack, but there's a lot of dudes wearing fanny packs. So you could have a lot of tactical kit in there and not look tactical. And I'm not telling you to wear a fanny pack, but what I'm saying is you could have this tactical bailout bag that's super tactical that does not look tactical. The fact that it's black and has molly stitch on the outside is probably not going to make you shoot any faster or more accurate, right? So just, again, think about what applies to you, not what somebody else is doing. Take the good concepts and apply them to you. Anyway, with that, I think there's been a lot of tactical tips in this episode. So I'll forego the tactical tip, but I won't forego... Hey guys, tactical stuff can start to get expensive. It adds up, right? As I sadly am finding out, or not finding out, but remembering. I haven't really wanted to talk about it much, but by the time this episode comes out, it'll probably, a little bit of the sting will be gone. But when I went to Alaska, parked our vehicle in like a monitored, guarded storage place, and several things got taken. Guns, tactical kit, my go-to fighting war belt, my body armor, things like that. So I know this stuff can add up. If you got any amount of value out of this episode, and or you want to help me rebuild that tactical kit, consider becoming a patron if you want to support the show, or there should be a Venmo link in the show. You just want to drop me a couple of bucks and say, here, put this towards your battle belt. Or put this towards ammo, because there's quite a bit of ammo that was taken. Anyway, if you want to help out like that, there should be a Patreon link or a Venmo link in the show notes. I am humbled and blessed that you give me some of your time. And if you want to support and step up, I would be even more humbled and blessed. I appreciate you guys listening. Thank you. Also, if you want to step up and be like a more interactive part of the tribe, the patrons, a lot of times I'll bounce episodes off of them. I'll ask them for advice, and we'll chat back and forth. And we have an insider chat if you want to communicate. And hopefully you'd find value in that. I think a lot of the guys do. In fact, a lot of the guys that become patrons, you can become a patron for $1. Well, without me asking them or anything, they'll up the amount that they give, I think, because they see the value in it. And that is truly humbling. If you've ever had like analysis paralysis, what about this versus this? I really want a government profile barrel, or should I go with the 365 or the Glock 26, or I just don't, right? You bounce it off of me. I'm here to serve. I'm here to help. So anyway, if you, any of that, consider becoming a patron, consider clicking on the Venmo link, dropping a couple dollars. I'm not in love with money, but it does help to buy ammo, and it would be appreciated. Anyway, with that, hopefully what you think is more important than the entire episode. Tactical verse of the day. And this hit me last night when I was up thinking about all the stuff that got taken. I really need to get slapped in the face because it's just stuff. But godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. And having food and raiment, let us be therewith content. It's good for me to get slapped in the face every once in a while like that. And remember what's really important. God is really important. A relationship with God is really important. What is that next to the fact that I am redeemed by the precious blood of Christ and I have a relationship with the creator of the universe, Almighty God? That is exponentially beyond my comprehension more important. Thank you. Have a blessed day.